Camp mom after Bloomberg report details how company owned by the president-elect's son is said to have purchased a multi-million-dollar property which the Buhari government had tried to seize. And Governor Dave Umahi of Ebonyi State makes case for Southeast Senate presidency as he visits President Buhari in the State House, as another group also says that they will work together with the party to find a way forward. Hello and welcome to the nation's flagship political show, Politics Today. I'm Kayode Okikiolu here in Lagos. Well, it's a big news day, so let's get right into it. Well, the suspended Adamawa resident electoral commissioner, Mr. Hudu Yunusa Ari, is now in police custody. That's 15 days after the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, summoned him to its headquarters. Mr. Yunusa Ari, whose whereabouts had been unknown till date, is said to have been arrested by the police election planning, monitoring and evaluation team today and is being grilled to ascertain the motives behind his actions during the supplementary elections in Adamawa State. Every day on this show, we had raised questions about his whereabouts and the police investigations. At some point, for 14 days, it had been, where is Mr. Hudu Yunusa Ari? But today, we can confirm to you that he is now in police custody. So that has essentially changed. And according to a statement by the Force PRO, CSP Olumuyiwa Adejobi, the Inspector General of Police has given the commitment of the force to ensure that justice is served in this case and that all guilty parties are brought to justice. Well, before Mr. Yunusa Ari was taken into custody today, a video was released through the BBC Hausa where he said that he didn't regret announcing Aisha Binani Dahiru of the All Progressives Congress APC as winner of the 2023 governorship election in the state. He also said he did not receive any money from either of the candidates. Well, he spoke in Hausa and would want you to take a listen.
I never demanded any gratification from either of Binani or Fintiri. None of the duo sent anything to me. If they have done so, by now they will be demanding their monies back. Collecting bribe to influence results is forbidden by God. That allegation is baseless. Where will I take 2 billion naira to? I saw the story on social media too, where someone was advising that I go and enjoy the money. If I'd collected that amount to act in such way, Nemesis will surely catch up with me. Votes polled by candidates were disclosed. I don't have the papers with me here, but both in the main and supplementary elections, Binani's called for 128,173 votes, while Fintiri got 422,303 votes. And as to the question of how he arrived at those figures, his response was that we have gone past that point now. We couldn't have cooked the results offhand. I have no regret at all, as I acted under the law. It is the law that warrants what I did, and it shall absolve me. To INEC, I've submitted written explanations, though I was told it was rejected, but I know it was collected.
So that's the suspended Adamawa Rex speaking earlier on before he was taken into custody. We'll keep our eyes on that investigation and continue to bring you the updates as they come in. It's a big day, as I said. We have lots packed for you on today's show. But let's first bring you other trending political stories. And here's your political roundup with Kayla Megwa.
Hello and good evening. I am Kayla Megwa, and these are your political roundup stories for today. President Muhammadu Buhari says the federal government will continue to give support to the Nigerian armed forces to discharge their responsibilities effectively. He gave the assurance at the commissioning of the Giwa 2 project at the Mogadishu cantonment in Abuja, where he also urged the service chiefs to sustain momentum in the fight against insecurity in the country. The Giwa 2 project is a communication facility designed to facilitate the operational activities of the military and other security agencies.
I also urge the armed forces to continue to break new grounds and remain in the forefront of mainstreaming technological and other cutting-edge initiatives.
Former President Olusegun Obasanjo has advised political leaders in the country to do all in their power to ensure peace and security in order to have meaningful development in the country. Describing peace and security as the bedrock of development, Obasanjo maintained that there can be no meaningful development in an atmosphere of insecurity. Obasanjo made the remark while commissioning the 23.4-kilometer Etinan-Eket Road in Akwa Ibom State.
When you have peace, when you have security, when you have stability, you have the basics that you need for economic development and progress. And that lies in the hands of all of you in Akwa Ibom State.
Ahead of the sentencing of Senator Ike Ekweremadu in the United Kingdom, the House of Representatives is appealing to the UK government to tamper justice with mercy. Honorable Toby Okechukwu, who moved the motion, based his position on the long-standing history and cordial ties between Nigeria and the United Kingdom. The lawmaker also drew attention to what he describes as Senator Ekweremadu's contributions to the Commonwealth of Nations and his innocent intention to save the life of his daughter. He says there should be back channels for diplomatic interventions.
Ask the British government that they should serve the cost of justice by granting some clemency.
The River State Governor Nyesom Wike has declared Wednesday, May the 3rd, as a public holiday to honor the official visit of the President-elect, Senator Bola Tinubu, to the state. Governor Wike, in a state broadcast, said the President-elect is scheduled for a 2-day visit to commission some projects in the state on Wednesday and Thursday. He listed the projects to be commissioned to include the Rumuokuta-Rumuola flyover in the newly built Magistrate Court complex in Obio, Akpo, and Port Harcourt local government areas, respectively. The governor urged residents of the state to turn out en masse to give the President-elect a warm reception.
Furthermore, by this visit, the President-elect will join the long list of distinguished Nigerians who we have hosted to either flag off or commission landmark projects in River State.
More needs to be done to strengthen the democratic system of Nigeria to ensure free, fair, and credible elections in the future. This is the view of representatives of political party leadership, civil society organizations, and the academia at an election monitoring report presentation by the National Institute of Policy and Strategic Studies in Abuja. They pinpointed the deployment of technology, appointment of political allies by the federal government into key positions in INEC, as well as ensuring that individuals are not more powerful than institutions responsible for conducting elections. A social political group under the aegis of Ijumu APC Progressive Minds are asking the national leadership of the APC to suspend Senator Smart Adeyemi, representing Kogi West Senatorial District, from the party for alleged anti-party activities. At a press conference in Lokoja, the leader of the group, Mr. Kamaldeen Toyin, described Senator Adeyemi's statements on the APC primary election as a blatant falsehood being circulated to mislead the public. In a reaction to the allegation, another group from the Kogi West Agenda Forum has condemned the action of the Ijumu APC Progressive Group calling for the suspension of Senator Adeyemi, saying he has done nothing that warrants his suspension from the party. And those are your political roundup stories for today.
Well, thank you, Kayla. Let's get into the first leg of a conversation on the program this evening. Running for public office means that you will be subjected to public scrutiny. As the name implies, it means your background, your finances, even your family ties. Nothing is really off the table when it comes to running for public office. And Nigerians today woke up to a story published by Bloomberg detailing how Aranda Overseas Corp, which is a company belonging to Seyi Tinubu, the son of the President-elect Bola Tinubu, is said to have purchased a London mansion which the Nigerian government had tried to seize as property bought with the proceeds of crime. Well, according to the report, he bought the property for $10.8 million, it's about £9 million, through the company in which he has majority shares in 2017. And the details of the company is publicly available on the UK government's website. And the property is said to have previously belonged to Mr. Kolawole Aluko, whom the federal government, under the President Muhammadu Buhari administration, has accused of billions of naira worth of fraud and of buying the mansion with embezzled funds. So this story has gotten a lot of Nigerians even people outside of Nigeria talking about the case, especially because it is coming less than a month to the inauguration of the president-elect. Well, Channels Television has reached out to Mr. Seyi Tinubu and the spokespersons of the president-elect, as well as the EFCC, but we're yet to get a response. But let's get some learned opinion on this, just to sort of give you an insight into what we're dealing with here. We're joined on the program by a legal practitioner, Mr. Dapo Otitoju, who joins us virtually from the nation's capital, Abuja. Well, good evening, and thank you for joining us on the program. Well, we'll try to make do with the picture quality, but just to get to the heart of the matter. Like a lot of Nigerians, you've seen this report, and I wonder for you, what are the issues at stake here?
Can you hear me? Good evening.
Yes, I can. Good evening. Please go ahead.
Yes. This allegation is still not confirmed, still an allegation. And I will want us to also look at the fact that Seyi Tinubu is an individual, a company in which Blue Bomb, it's a company that we know that also into business of various, whatever business you think they are entitled to also work on. But be that as it may, I believe that every individual have a right to acquire properties as the demands may come to them. Now, looking at the issue at stake, just because Seyi Tinubu is the son of the president-elect does not mean that he does not have a right to acquire property. He is not the president-elect, and neither has he also assumed position in Nigeria. So now think of the fact that in the oil sector, Seyi Tinubu is somebody who has made money from various businesses. And so he has rights as an individual to acquire property. So are we saying that if a president, if the father is a president, he himself does not have a right to acquire property from his own business, from his own resources? By all standards, Tinubu is not a poor man. And as such, if he has a property that he wants.
Okay, well, looks like we lost connection with you there for a moment, Mr. Otitoju. But if you're still there, looking at the details of the company, Aranda Overseas Corporation, which, as I said, is publicly available on the Companies House website of the UK government. It says the country of incorporation, the British Virgin Islands, puts the address, essentially puts details of the company, which is in reference here by the Bloomberg report. And I wonder for you as well, a lot of people are raising the moral question as to, $11 million, $10.8 million, we could round it off to that. A lot of people are asking the moral question that, that is a huge sum of money, isn't it?
Yes, I am. Like I said, if you look at the status of Seyi Tinubu in the society, apart from being the son of the president-elect, Seyi Tinubu is not a poor man. Seyi Tinubu, by all standard, has worked and has earned his money. Looking at how much you are talking about, it is not for Seyi, it is for the company. You are talking about Blue Bank being the purchaser of the property. It is still an allegation, as I earlier said. But whatever it is, we as an individual, we are entitled to have right to purchase property as long as the Constitution of Nigeria allows you to have right to immovable property. Seyi Tinubu is in Nigeria. He can acquire property, let alone property that was acquired abroad. And what the problem is, you are not blaming Seyi Tinubu. You are saying Blue Bank. Blue Bank is a company. Seyi Tinubu is is the CEO of the company. So you have to be able to separate Seyi Tinubu from Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Bola Ahmed Tinubu is a president. Bola Ahmed Tinubu has not even assumed office, let alone now maybe making the rounds that it is a process of corruption. So I don't agree with those who are talking about the fact that the money is huge. 11 million US dollar, pounds. As long as Seyi Tinubu is an individual, he has worked, he's still working, and he can acquire property as much as he can. So long as there's no linkage of the Nigerian resources with him. He has not held any public office. He's not the governor. He's not the deputy governor. He's not holding any elective or public office. He's a businessman. So I believe that we should stop this making round and concentrate on better things.
Well, it's interesting you say that that's not a huge sum of money for a lot of people. That is huge, and I imagine for a majority of people. But another issue at stake here. So Bloomberg published that report. The company in question is Aranda Overseas Corporation. But another major issue is the fact that the Nigerian government under President Muhammadu Buhari had actually tried to seize that property, saying it was bought with proceeds of crime. And it's the same property in question that is said to have been purchased by Aranda Corporation. And I'd like to speak to this question of due diligence, because the report out there is also saying that, well, that property was under mortgage anyway, so it was maybe reclaimed by the bank and eventually bought. So does that speak to maybe the due diligence that was done by the anti-graft agency which sought to seize this property in the first place?
Now, you see, when you talk about mortgage, the mortgage system is totally different from what we are talking about. Now, in mortgage outside Nigeria, mortgage system is totally different from outright purchase, which we normally do here in Nigeria. Now, looking at what you just said, a property that was seized from Aluko and the former Minister for Petroleum. Now, this property haven't been seized by the federal government of Nigeria. Of course, have a right to either auction it, or if they found out that there's mortgage running on the property, they release it for whoever the mortgagor is, or the mortgagee. Seyi Tinubu could also have a right to also acquire this property upon being released back to the bank. Now, the whole activity around this property is still not clear as to whether it was actually seized by Federal Republic of Nigeria. And if it is mortgage, then you cannot be talking of corruption, because mortgage system has to go with monthly remittance or yearly remittance, as the case may be. So in essence, what I'm trying to say is that whatever due diligence they must have taken, Bloomberg, being a company, have a right to invest in properties. As you know, Nigerians and all other companies all over the world today, properties are more lucrative in business, and people invest in it not to live, but of course to keep and buy and make money.
Right.
You cannot say that the $11 million or pounds, as the case may be, is a proceed that is coming from one person. So what I'm trying to let you know is that in any business transaction we are doing, it has its own aim and an objective.
All right, let's wind down on this. Again, Bloomberg is an organization that published a report, and the company in question that purchased the property from that report is Aranda. But what kind of impact do you see this having on, well, the image of the president-elect, the swearing-in, which is expected in less than a month away? With this kind of report, what kind of impact do you see it having on his image and, of course, the swearing-in and his administration as a whole, I should add?
Yes. I can't hear you. Please, can you just...
Oh, my question is pretty straightforward. I'm asking that what kind of impact do you see this report that was just released, what kind of impact do you see it having on the image of the president-elect, the swearing-in, which is coming, and of course, his administration?
Yeah, well, as far as I'm concerned, I don't believe that this should affect any swearing or should have any image to affect anything. Sorry, because Seyi Tinubu is an individual. He's the son of the president-elect. He's an adult. He's not a minor. And so whatever he does, is different from the president-elect. Bola Ahmed Tinubu is different from Seyi Tinubu. So please, what I'm trying to let you know is that we cannot link this alongside any of the activity of Bola Ahmed Tinubu. His son is different from himself. And so whatever his son does, to the best of my knowledge, that is why he's answering Seyi Tinubu. And the president-elect, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, is also answering that. So,
in cases like this and other claims, as the Hunter Biden case, for example, is a major reference point. But in terms of how Nigerians receive this, the anti-graft stance of this current administration and, in fact, international perception, because Bloomberg said that he actually bought that property cash down. So does that bother you in any way with that quantum of cash?
Now, Bloomberg is a company. Like I said, it's a company. And it is not only Seyi Tinubu that is a major stakeholder in that company. Seyi Tinubu could also have facilitators, contributors within the company to have bought that property. That's why I say it could be a pool, a system whereby you pull resources together to acquire a property for purposes. So for now, it's still not verifiable. I could not have said, Seyi Tinubu has not told you that he is the owner of the money. The entire money he used in buying the property. So I feel that we should concentrate more on the facts that is verifiable and not
All right. Well, these issues are actually there, and Nigerians will naturally ask the question, because that's what governance is about, being accountable to the people in different ways. And I'm sure a lot of Nigerians will be waiting to at least hear the other side. And we'll keep asking those questions, hoping to, of course, hear from them soon enough. But we'd like to thank you so much for shedding some light on this. We've been speaking with Mr. Dapo Titoju, who's a legal practitioner. Thank you. At least we try to make do with the conversation in spite of the picture quality. Thank you so much for your time, Mr. Titoju.
Thank you. Thank you.
Right. So let's talk about this issue of zoning, the emergence of the 10th National Assembly. Earlier today, the governor of Ebonyi State paid a visit to President Muhammadu Buhari, and he spoke about certain issues, and this is what he said. He actually said that the issue of ranking is not superior to the Constitution because inadequate Southeast votes, according to him, should not be a deterrent. He therefore pleaded with the party, that's the All Progressives Congress, to, in his words, prioritize consideration for the Southeast in the choice of Senate presidency for the sake of an equitable, administration, urging that inadequate votes from the Southeast should not be a deterrent. He, of course, made that plea when he met with President Muhammadu Buhari privately at the State House earlier today. So while that meeting happened earlier on in the day, there was another group, a coalition of over 200 members-elect, according to the name of the House of Representatives, and they pledged to respect the decision of the All Progressives Congress, APC, on the zoning of a speaker and the deputy speaker's seat. The coalition, under the aegis of a joint task 10th Assembly, made this disclosure during a media briefing in Abuja, and the chairman of a coalition, Mr. Usman Kumo, explains that the unity of a country is a priority for them. Take a listen.
We have resolved to go by the decision of the majority party, which is the APC, in deciding which zone produces the speaker and the deputy speaker. After the zoning is done by the majority party, we, as members-elect, we will look critically, taking cognizance of competence, track record, character, and ensuring people from that particular zone who have the capacity to provide leadership and direction.
So let's get some more at least insight into, what's playing out within the All Progressives Congress. You may have recalled a conversation we had with Honorable Usman Kumo just some days back, where he was telling us about the plan of the joint task, as it is known. But let's get the sense from another group within the APC, and we're joined on the program this evening from our Abuja studio by Mr. Norbert Sochukudima, who's a spokesperson of a National Forum of APC Local Government Chairmen. They're also stakeholders in this, and they have a position on this. We'd like to thank you so much for joining us on the program.
Thank you for having me. Good evening, viewers.
Well, so we have the position of the governor of Ebonyi State saying, well, the Southeast should be given a chance. But you had the members-elect there saying that they'll respect whatever the party decides. And I wonder, for your group, which you play a key role, by the way, in the affairs of your party, what is your position regarding the emergence of leaders for the 10th Assembly? Are you looking to zone it to a certain area, or you'll go with whatever the party decides?
Yeah, I want to start by saying that we as a group, we are grassroots mobilizers, leaders of the grassroots, the Forum of Local Government Chairmen of the All Progressive Congress. Certainly, the decision of where this position should be zoned will be taken by the leadership of the party, the national leadership of the party. But we as a forum who are very close to the people at the grassroots, we have done our very wide consultation, did due diligence, and resolved that the best bet for us is to have the whole positions. There are the four major positions: the Senate presidency, the deputy, the Speaker of the House of Rep, and the deputy zoned. And the reason for this is for inclusiveness, for unity, for equity, for fairness. And we had taken our decision in the press conference we issued last week on the 27th of April, where we seized the opportunity, congratulated the president-elect, and we asked specifically that we appealed passionately that the national leadership should kindly zone the Senate presidency to the Southeast. Our reason for such a passionate appeal is to allow a kind of level of sense of belonging to the Southeast. We have 6 geopolitical zones. Already the Southwest has the president-elect, the Northeast has the vice president-elect. We are left with 4 zones. And these 4 zones, we have checked everything, and the best place for us so that our brothers in the Southeast who are part of this nation will have this sense of belonging. There will be, and we know also that the president-elect, by the grace of God, Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, who will be sworn in May 29, has the mind to unite Nigeria and bring a leadership of inclusiveness. So it's a coincidence that today the governor of Ebonyi State, one of our leaders, has also spoken in that direction. That is supporting what we have said earlier as grassroots mobilizers and leaders. So I want to say emphatically on behalf of the Forum of APC Local Government Chairmen, we appeal passionately to our president-elect, his vice, the national leadership of our party, the NWC, the NEC, and all critical stakeholders to please zone the Senate presidency to the Southeast. We went further also
Mr. Sochukudima, just a moment. Pardon me to come in here.
Okay.
You land on that thought, but we're due for a break, okay? It's customary we take that at this moment. And when we return, we'll take, your landing point and, of course, dovetail into some of the factors that will be considered in choosing where this goes to and just how far you're willing to go to achieve this goal. That's in a moment. Plus, we'll be talking more politics, Rivers politics, and how it affects national politics. Rivers politics is quite peculiar. I'll be speaking with Senator Magnus Abe in a moment. So don't go away. Stay with us. Welcome back to the program. Let's continue our conversation with Mr. Norbert Sochukudima, who is the spokesperson, National Forum of APC Local Government Chairman. Thank you for staying with us, Mr. Sochukudima. So, I mean, Governor Umahi made that appeal, and you were going to land on that point you're making. But let's just show our viewers what the balance of power looks like right now, so we can better fuse into this conversation. So, if you could just take a look at the composition as it is now, with the president-elect, there you go, the vice president-elect. So we have a president-elect from the southwest, a vice president-elect from the northeast. I see those regions or those positions now in the National Assembly up for grabs for different regions. You have Governor Dave Umahi calling that it be zoned to the southeast, or at least the southeast be given a chance, and Mr. Sochukudima, speaking for the National Forum of APC Local Government Chairman, also saying the same. So let's see the contenders, at least those who have signified interest in running for the position of the President of the Senate for the 10th Assembly. Let's take a look at the contenders for you right now. There you go. So you have Senator Orji Uzor-Kalu, and you can really count the senators who are for, or at least senators-elect that are from the southeast region right there. So there you have a picture, at least a snapshot of those who are interested in the President of the Senate. And you can see Senator Orji Kalu, Governor Dave Umahi as well from the southeast. So, Mr. Sochukudima, are the factors which a lot of politicians say will play out in this, aside the House rules, aside high-ranking members of the National Assembly, is the question of just how much that region delivered for the president-elect. So you can speak to that in addition to the point you were going to make before we went on the break.
Oh, it's all right. Thank you very much. I'd like to start from the last point that you made. I have listened to that conversation last month where someone was saying that the Southeast didn't contribute a good number of votes to the victory of our great party, the APC. But that's correct. But I will say this very clearly. The Southeast played also a good role in ensuring that we won. We got over 127,000. And let me tell you what played out during the presidential election and the mood of the people of the Southeast. I salute the courage of those great APC leaders and followers in the Southeast who even gave us the number of votes that we had. And as grassroots people who feel the impulse of the people, we cannot say because majority of Southeasterners did not vote for our party, that those who brought out their heart, took risk, took courage, and voted us should be punished. So for the sake of these number of persons, leaders who are courageous enough against all odds to stick with APC, carried out the campaign, and garnered the votes that we got from Southeast, I think it's enough, more than enough, for us to consider Southeast. That said, we cannot pay evil, so to say, with evil. And by the grace of God, I know the antecedents of our president-elect, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, is not a vendetta. He's not going to punish the Southeast. His interest, and we as his followers at the grassroots, we want him to succeed. That is why we are making this passionate appeal. If the Southeast has a Senate presidency, our brothers, the citizens of Nigeria from that region, from that zone, are going to have this sense of belonging, feel included in what we are doing. So we are not going to say because of the number of votes. If the circumstances that prompted their producing those number of votes had happened to any other zone, the same thing would have repeated itself. So for me, they did not do badly in the number of votes we got from that zone, considering the persons that contested in that election against our party. So they are good to go. We are making this passionate appeal. And from what you just showed, those that are contending from that that particular position, which is the number 3 position in the nation after the vice president, you can see For the Southeast, let me narrow my discussion to the Southeast. We have Senator Joseph Kalu there. We'll have His Excellency Governor Dave Umahi, who spoke earlier today. And we'll have most distinguished Senator Osita Izunaso. In our press release, we were not ambiguous. We were specific to whom we think is most suitable. And we have our reasons. There are factors we considered. Yeah. Out of the three of them, only two of them are ranking senators. Our wonderful leader, Governor Dave Umahi, is a first-timer. So we also had our discussion, analyzed everything, and narrowed our choice where we put our endorsements to just two persons who are ranking officer. That is Senator Ojo Zokalo and Senator Osita Izunaso. For us, we settled without missing word, without reservation for Senator most distinguished Senator Osita Izunaso. Our reasons are these. These are the sterling qualities of leadership that he has that prompted putting our mind and appealing to our leaders to project him and ensure that he emerges. One is that he is accessible. We need an accessible leader.
But, you know, pardon me to jump in here. Because I know the campaigning will still be going on within the National Assembly and within the party. But for the one that concerns a lot of, Nigerians particularly, is, the South is also making, will be giving you a run for your money. Because when you look at the contribution, the South can say, well, we gave the president-elect almost 800,000 votes. So, hey, naturally, if you'll reward any region, it should be us. But let's wind down on this one, Mr. Sochikudima. What happens then if your party decides that it should not go the way of Southeast? What will be the implication of that?
Okay, as I respond to that, it interests you to know that I'm from Delta State. I'm from the South. What we are doing is about national interest, inclusiveness. And that's why we are insisting, we are appealing, it's a passionate appeal for the good of our nation. The question you ask, the leadership of our great party, the president-elect, his vice, and other critical leaders, they have the final say. We are not making this decision for them. We are only appealing to them because we know they have confidence and trust in us as grassroots people who are close to the downtrodden, who know the feeling of the people on ground. So, but if at the end of the day, they decide to take elsewhere, which we don't expect they will do, because they also feel the mood of the nation. Everyone wants Nigeria to be united. Everyone wants us to come, and especially our incoming president, who we want to succeed at every legal cost. We'll do everything to see that no zone is left behind. Currently, the South where I'm from has my leader there, the Deputy Senate President, Senator Oviomo Agege, who worked so hard, led us in Delta State to deliver for votes for our leader.
We have to anchor at this point. Clearly, it's an ongoing conversation, clearly, but I think it's interesting so far. I will keep our eyes peeled on this one, and of course, we wish you the very best in this journey. We'd like to thank you so much, Mr. Norbert Sochikudima, spokesperson, National Forum of APC Local Government Chairman. Thank you so much for your time on the program.
Thank you, and God bless you. Thank you for having me.
Well, let's talk more politics, shall we? The governorship candidate of the Social Democratic Party in Rivers State, Senator Magnus Abe, has announced his withdrawal of his legal challenge to the governorship election in the state. Senator Abe made this known while addressing party faithful at the SDP state head office in Port Harcourt, the state capital, just a few days ago. And he says his action is born out of his love for the state and his interest in moving forward together and avoiding confusion and bickering. So let's hear directly from him, because that decision may have shocked a lot of people. For some, they probably saw it coming. But just before we have this conversation, let us take you back to the State House and get you to listen to what Governor Dave Umahi of Ebonyi State said about the Senate presidency. Then we'll come back to have this conversation. Stay with us.
The Senate president will be elected amongst the senators elect. That's what the Constitution says. The Constitution did not talk about ranking. So I think what is key is for equity, fairness, and justice. And you see that even the opposition party, we key in, we see reasons for that. And I think at this stage, of course, led by our father and the president, is to talk about how do we unite the country. And let me also emphasize that, yes, the Northwest, they have a right. They voted massively, Nobody is asking them to waive their rights, but we can plead with them and say for the situation like this, the Northwest governors and of course the Northern governors, they have a very big stake in this governance. Wike has a very big stake in this governance. Matalawe, Ayade, Devomai, we all have very big stake, Even P2B, by extension has a stake in this, because the enemy of your enemy is your friend. And that's what happened in this sense. So together we can rebuild the nation.
So that was Governor Dave Umahi earlier on speaking there. We just wanted to have a feel of the statements he made right after that private meeting with President Buhari. So let's get into our final conversation for this evening. Senator Magnus Abe joins us live from our Abuja studio. And, Senator, a lot of people listened to you. Some read that statement and they were thinking, wait a minute. What's going on here? We thought that there was still a lot more to this election. Don't forget the protests we saw by the PDP, or rather the APC in Rivers, and the counter-protest by the PDP. So a lot of people were expecting intrigues, especially from you as well. So is this you positioning for something? What exactly prompted you to do this?
Well, thank you very much. I think that one needs to be realistic in politics. You're not a stranger to the politics of Rivers State. As you would recollect, we have been in this game for quite some time. And right from when we were in the APC, we actually have been engaged in, would I call it, internal battles over the way things have been done in Rivers State. At the time we left the APC to go to the SDP and contest for the governorship of Rivers State, you will recollect that the president-elect now was in the APC. The Rivers State governor, Nyesom Wike, was in PDP, and we went to the SDP to contest for the governorship of Rivers State against Governor Wike and his party. Now, in the course of that battle, the dynamics of the politics have changed. Wike and the G5 now have an alliance with the APC at the national level. And that alliance, of course, affects the dynamics of what is happening in the state. Now, we looked at it that if we continue our battle in the court at this point, we will end up being in direct confrontation with the president-elect, who has clearly, by his body language and by the alliance between the APC and the G5, taking a clear position as far as the issue is concerned. And so a lot of the support, a lot of the goodwill that we enjoyed in the course of this battle, right from the APC into the SDP, has been eroded by that alliance. So if we continue the battle at this stage, we will be continuing on our own, and we will not be able to get any institutional support. We saw the impact of this in the just concluded election. The SDP and our supporters in Rivers State, we actually went through a lot. People were traumatized. As we speak, people are still being arrested. People were imprisoned. A lot of our followers were imprisoned. People suffered so much. And this struggle has been sustained by Rivers people making little contributions, putting their hard-earned resources together to fight against people who are engaging in this battle with the support of public institutions and with an unending war chest. So at this point, we are forced to question ourselves clearly as to what we can achieve if we continue to propel this fight forward at this time. Are we still going to tell these market women, these traders, all these people who are bringing out their hard-earned and meager resources to support us that they should continue to bring money? We are going to win. We will win Wike. We will win Tinubu. We will win APC. We will win everybody on our own. Will we be telling them the truth? So we looked at all these things and took all that into consideration. Again, Nigerians know that we had, you will recollect that over time, we had invested so much of our political capital in the belief that Asiwaju Ahmed Bola Tinubu will be the next president of Nigeria, and that his presidency will bring a lot of change economically and politically to this nation. And so if we now, at this stage, remain in court, battling a position that he has taken, and continue that battle for the next 10 months up to the Supreme Court, are we being practical in our assessment of the politics of the nation and the state at this time? Or are we just fighting just for the purpose of being seen as people who fight? So for us and our leadership, politics is a practical thing, and we need to take decisions that respond to the true situation of the time. If the music has changed, the drum beat has changed, the circumstances has changed, you have to take a second look at your plan. And that is what we have done, and therefore we have taken the decision that in the interest of the state, in the interest of our own followers who have sacrificed and suffered so much, we will not continue a fight that we are not convinced at this time that we can prevail, given the changing dynamics of the political situation. So out of deference to all those points, and to also be able to get help. As we speak now, there are a lot of our supporters whose properties have been confiscated, and they have been arrested. They are being stressed out in so many ways. We feel that if we withdraw from this petition, from this situation, and then cash in or promote the relationships that we have always had with the federal structure, we can be able to bring them help and bring all this suffering of our supporters to a close and re-strategize. So in terms of practical politics, we think that we have taken the right decision.
Right. I mean, you had 46,000 plus people voting for you in that election, and I imagine you're speaking to them this evening.
That is not correct, and that is why we actually went to court. We had a lot of support in Rivers State, and that's why we went to court to try to prove that. But as I said, at this point, if we continue the struggle, it seems to me and to a lot of us that the struggle will be merely academic in terms of political.
If you think you had
and aiming to.
If you think you had more than that figure, which of course was counted for you by the official result, why not then stick to getting justice up till the end? Wouldn't this be you then allowing injustice, which you think was done to you, to just happen?
I agree that is the sentiment of a lot of our people, but justice in Nigeria is relative. We started this fight from the All Progressives Congress. You know that we went up to the Supreme Court 3 times, and despite our victories at the Supreme Court at that time, because the party didn't agree with us, we couldn't make any headway, and people stood by us all through that. You know, now if you look at the results, for example, from Onelga, one of the largest local governments in Rivers State, where even our director of campaign came from, there was no figure entered for the SDP. You know? So what are you saying? Are you saying that even our director of campaign did not vote for us? But you saw the crowds when we went to Onelga. So there was a lot of what went on that ordinarily we would not have accepted. And we don't really accept. But the reality of the situation is that proving these facts in a court of law would require experts, would require senior advocates. it will take us over 10 months to go through all that, and it will be resisted by the people who claim that they won. So at the end of all that struggle, are we sure of what will be the outcome of that effort? And do we have the resources to prosecute that battle all the way up there?
I know that resources...
It's not a practical thing for us at this time.
I know that resources is key to politics, from even before the primaries to the proper campaigns. Resources is a big deal, as it is in other climes. But how much does it cost on average to pursue a tribunal case, for example? So maybe people can get a sense of the issues you had on your table that made you to take this decision.
No, it's not all about the resources. Like I told you, it's a combination of factors. First of all, you know that what it will cost to successfully prosecute a governorship election petition against the government of Rivers State is not something I want to discuss on national television. But just for purposes of emphasis, that is not why we pulled out. Like I said to you, when we started this fight, we were ready to take on the Rivers State government and the PDP. Now the PDP and the Rivers State government is in an alliance with our own mentor, our father. And that alliance with the G5 now affects the dynamics of what happens in Rivers State. If the president-elect has clearly shown that this is where he stands on this matter, and then we now proceed, are we ready to take on both Wike, take on Tinubu, take on the APC, take on everybody on the course of this struggle, and we are confident that we're going to win? You know, if we have that confidence that we can defeat all of them, then we can talk to our people, sell your house, sell your market, anything you have, bring. We will go and take these people on. But if we don't believe it, and we continue to encourage them to move on, that we didn't start by saying we're going to go against Asiwaju, who we were with. Now the situation has changed. The dance steps has changed. And we have to make a practical assessment of our situation. So it's not just about the resources. If it's the resources, our people have supported us so much. If you know the number of Rivers people who contributed to our campaign, flew in from all across the world to support us, you will understand that this is not something that any one person could have done. Now, will the interest of those people be protected by what would be entirely an academic pursuit at this time? We don't think so. So in order to safeguard the interest of all these people that have suffered so much, it is our responsibility as the leader of this whole endeavor to look at it realistically and make a call that serves the interest, the long-term interest of our supporters, of our people, and of our state.
Let's wind down on this with this.
To go against the system at this point.
All right. Although I'm still surprised that, I mean, in the spirit of transparency, why you do not want to mention how much it will take on an average to prosecute tribunal cases.
Let me say something. If you're going to hire 3 or 4 senior advocates, how much would that cost you? If you're bringing expert witnesses, how much would that cost you? If you're bringing witnesses from across 23 local governments in Rivers State to Abuja, housing them and all that for them to testify, provide for them, how much would that cost you? But that's not the point. Like I said, our people have shown
It's okay, Senator. I was thinking you'd say at least $1 billion or more, but I'd like you to speak to this because we've talked about the music changing. By the way, is it $1 billion or more?
You are a Nigerian. You know
well, I'm not a politician. I've not pursued tribunal cases before, so you know about it better.
I have.
So did it cost you $1 billion then?
I have
or more?
It. You see, at the time we were doing that, I was a senator of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. I was in the APC. We had the support of the then Minister of Transport, and therefore the support of the federal government. There were a lot of variables that came into the contest at that time. We had institutional support from some of the federal institutions and all that. All those are things you cannot quantify in terms of money. Now, if we decide to go ahead on our own We are not going to get any of that support.
Senator, we're totally out of time.
We have to pay for everything.
But as the elephant in the room, which I need you to respond to, we have just less than 30 seconds. Are you open, because you talked about the dance, the music changing, are you now open to a position in the cabinet of the president-elect?
Well, it's not a question, I'm a Nigerian, it's not a question of being open to a position in the cabinet of a president-elect. Everybody knows that I'm part of the Asiwaju family, and I've always been. And I will remain SDP. So whether I have a position or
Senator,
not.
you are in the SDP.
What is important
Asiwaju is in APC.
Yes.
Or does he also have extended families in the SDP?
Is Wike not in the PDP? Are they not in alliance? Didn't he work for this thing? So it's not a party thing at this point in the country. Right. Everybody who has I said it from the beginning, that the question of who becomes the next president of Nigeria is beyond politics. Okay. And it showed in the elections. People from different parties supported people that they thought would do a better job. And so we had always been with Asiwaju, and that's where we are. So
and I think that's a fine place.
It is beyond party politics.
And I think that's a fine place to leave it. It's good to see you again, Senator Abe. Would like to thank you so much for your time. We've been speaking with Senator Magnus Abe, who is or was the governorship candidate of the SDP in the Rivers governorship election. Thank you once more.
Thank you very much.
Well, that's been the program for tonight, everyone. We're back again tomorrow with another package. I'm Kayode Okikule. Good night.